Hey, what's up, Shining Otaku? It's Cloud9
And
and this is Shining Spotlight, the stream where we highlight creatives in the industry in order to inspire you guys. Today, we have two guests that have been on our show before. They're amazing. Everything, I'm kid you not, everything I see them put out to me looks so dope. It's like fire. Of course, they work on their comic Iridescent, which I swear to you, I even love the name of the title because it makes you think of guess bright light or something like almost like a fluorescent light bulb, but something even
I
greater
know,
than
right?
that. I know. But we have, of course, Saymond and Pedro Blaze. They're back on the show today, so I want to welcome you guys on. I'm so happy to see you guys today.
Awesome. We're happy to be back. Happy to see you too.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk anime and manga, man. It's really exciting for us. It's always a good time talking to you, and we're happy to be back. Like Pedro said, it's super cool.
Oh yeah, I know you guys have been, chugging away. I know last time that we talked to you, funny enough, I remember I think it was back, or actually that was back in 2018. So I mean, we're talking about, of course, of course your comic, and we were talking about like Avengers, that sort of thing. So much has changed. But I want to ask you guys, as far as with your comic, with Iridescent, what's been up with it lately? Are you guys I know you guys have been putting out a lot of chapters lately. A lot of work has been, I've seen on Webtoons and Tapastic. Can you give of course for the viewers, who may not have seen some of your work, just a quick synopsis and tell us a little bit what you've been up to all this time.
Synopsis. So pretty much Iridescent is the story of Shoder Kurotashi and Emaru Diamondheart. One of them is the son of the champion, and one of them is the son of a king, right? So Shoder, his dad passes away in a tragic manner, and now the whole nation looks to him to be the next champion. While Emaru, he's the son of the king, but he doesn't really care so much about royalty. He just want to have fun and fight the next big fighter. So of course he's gonna try to fight Shoder, and things get a little complicated with his life, with Emaru's life and his brother. So he ends up aligning with himself with a shady organization that's after Shoder, and that's the perfect opportunity for him to actually fight a legend, right? So that's pretty much where the first arc starts, but the story evolves a little more, and we have a lot to tell. But right now we're working on volume 1 of Iridescent. We're still doing that.
You guys are nearing the end on that, right?
Yeah.
And we had to revise and rewrite a few chapters to make it prepare for the second volume, for the second season. So he's been doing a lot of rewriting. I've been doing some of the redrawing of some things. But we've been advancing. We're close to finishing the volume 1, which we plan to have published hopefully by the end of this year.
Yeah, no, I can see, so much has come out since I last saw it. I mean, I'm thinking, dang, there was some of the work that was a little bit far behind on. And then when I'm reading Karen, she honestly, I understand why you guys, kind of I remember back when I asked you about who your favorite character was and why it was so tough, because one of the things that I see in manga, especially manga that might seem a little bit more along the lines of shonen series, right? Sometimes they shy away from these relationships. They take forever for characters to ever make a move. And you guys did not shy away with that, with Shoder and, Karen, with, as far as, teasing a relationship. We're not even teasing it, but actually having something take place, and I'm like, okay, let's see what goes. This guy's spicy already after, just a couple chapters. I'm like, okay.
Chapter 2. When it comes to the normal shonen mangas, will take a whole season or the whole series for them. They will go back and forth. They will hint at their feelings. Like My Hero Academia, they cannot hint at it, but they don't dwell into relationships. And I didn't want to spend the whole series of the whole first arc doing that, because we've seen that before. But what happens after they get together? How can you create drama and make things complicated after you establish, these are two people?
That's the beautiful part of it. We're gonna see some drama happen, and we're excited to write about it and put it on drawings too. Because what I've noticed is on most manga and anime, the main character is literally shying away from the love interests. He's too shy to say something. They get nervous around her. things like that. So we're like, let's change that. Let's do something different. Let's just have them make something happen at the beginning and then build a lot of drama out of that. So
But the thing is, she wasn't playing around. That's the whole thing I like, is that she was like, no, this is what it is. She let him know, like she went in for it. So I'm like, okay.
And there's a thing that makes the relationship a bit complicated in regards to Karen, and that's when we see some of the drama in the chapter. She's like, "Oh my gosh, is this really happening? Should I do this? I know I'm gonna get in trouble, but I don't care." Like she gave scene at the end. She's like, "Well, no, I feel this way for a reason." So she, embraces that instead of shying away from it in the chapter. So
Now, we're not going to eventually see Karen get the manager haircut, are we?
we
oh please, oh god.
I had to. I had to say.
I know. That's like an unfortunate thing that happened because we came up with that name long time ago, and then it became a meme, and not in a more positive way for Karen. So she's like an exception from the Karen rules. This Karen is definitely not a Karen.
Okay. I just had to say, I'm like, but in any case, though, I mean, the way I like to think of Iridescent is a story almost like of a character avenging a champion. That's kind of the way I like to think of it, but it's much more than that, obviously.
way much more.
But if I just had to say for anyone out there who's new to it, of course, and if you haven't seen maybe the previous interview, because there was a previous interview that we did, that's the best way you can, at least like if you just want a taste of what the story, initial story, what it's about. But I mean, there's definitely a lot more in there. I mean, the way that you guys do your scenes in terms of even like the action scenes, I can tell that there's a lot of care to it. You're not, just kind of like fudging the anatomy on the characters, or, even the way that you're, you have the way that the panels flow, there's a lot of care, you handle that, so, I mean, I have to, definitely give that to you because there's a lot of care, but I mean,
sorry, that was something that we went ahead and changed on some of the first couple of chapters, because we noticed that there's a way that we can change the paneling to tell the story better and just guide the eye in a better way to just present the shots in a more cinematic way.
Yeah, the flow of the page is really important for the reader to just get lost in the story. If they see little inconsistencies, then you get taken back. But when something is, you don't notice it, it's when something is right, when you don't notice any of the mistakes because it's flowing good. So Pedro is doing a really good job at taking care of all the flow of the pages, making the panels look more cinematic, because that's something we're aiming for. And I'm really happy with the way the new chapters especially are coming out, and I'm excited to go back and redo some of the first two in a way that's gonna make the book look even better, and the final product is gonna be even like in another level.
So do you guys, when you guys are working on your manga, like, do you see growth within yourself, like from maybe previous chapters you worked on versus now? Like
oh my god, you have no idea. You have no idea. Like we see some of our older art, and at the time we would say, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and we look at it 2-3 years later, and 3 years later, and we're like, "What is this? What am I thinking?" But yeah, no, I have definitely. I mean, it takes a lot of practice and discipline. It just I've seen a lot of improvement in my art, and I've even seen improvement in his writing. So both of us, we're having seen a lot of improvement in the product that we're putting out, and we're excited. It even makes us more excited to see how far we've become and how much better we're getting at the art. So it's inspiring to see that. Yeah.
So how do you feel? Do you feel as though, like, has COVID-19 been challenging for you in any way in terms of creatively, or?
Not necessarily. Actually, since COVID started, there was a time when my secular job put a pause to all their
shifts.
Yeah, pretty much they closed down for 2 months. So I was stuck at home, and I was just doing the manga for pretty much almost. Well, I wouldn't say 24/7, but you get the idea. Like, I was working on that every single day, and that also helped me advance a lot. The only thing that we were affected by COVID-19 about was the conventions, because we were going to a lot of conventions to promote our art, to promote our book, and since all the conventions were closed down, we haven't been able to go to these conventions, promote our art, promote our stores, our
Prints,
social media,
yeah,
and all that.
all that. So.
Yeah,
What I was gonna say, when it comes to COVID-19, yeah, that's when it affected us the most, and not only us, but everybody that got those convention, cosplayers, artists, organizers, even the companies, they all are in this weird situation that we don't know when it's gonna end. Some people are not caring anymore, and they're trying to adapt to this new situation, global situation. When it comes to us, we're making really good progress when it comes to the convention scene, having our presence be noticed, being in different conventions, and we booked a lot. Like we booked a lot of conventions this year. There was a weekend that we have like 4 going on at the same time, and we call it the weekend of death because we didn't know how we are gonna split ourselves and be in 4 places. Like one of them was in Puerto Rico, two of them were in Texas, but not in the same city. Like one in Dallas, the other one in Houston, and I think the 4th one was in Dallas, but in a different part of Dallas.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting challenge to see how we were gonna pull that off, and unfortunately, like we couldn't, right?
It got canceled. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, because we get the opportunity to work more on the manga and have everything ready to go for the first volume and the other 2 volumes. Because I don't know if you guys. We have talked about this before. We storyboard the whole thing, the whole 20 chapters. That's the first story arc. So that will be 3 volumes. So we got the opportunity to re-look at them and make them better before we go.
That's
when
right.
and do
like we
the
even
first chapters.
we got opportunity to plan more scenes to because we would thumbnail the way we work together. He writes the idea, he tells me the idea, and then I draw thumbnails of how it's gonna look, pretty much like a storyboard in one single piece of paper, and then I put it into paneling and all that, so we can have the storyboards of what the manga book is gonna look like.
And that's when it comes to new scenes. Of course, I do a script, but sometimes you come up with an idea in the storyboard process. The storyboard part of the process, you come up, oh, you know what? We should put a scene here, and that's normal in any industry, even in movies. That's why they do reshoots, because once they start editing the movie, they notice, oh, maybe we need a specific scene that will help the transition between these 2 scenes, right? So they go back and reshoot some stuff. It's the same thing with us. Like we see not the flaws, but rooms that we can make some improvements, and we go ahead and do them.
Yeah, mainly we see the flow. We see how it flows when we have it on thumbnails. We see how it's flowing. We're like, you know what, this works, but maybe we can add something here, or maybe we can take this away, things like that.
But I know we've talked about this before in the past, but the fact that you guys, are close, that probably helps a lot as far as being able to, kind of know each other, what each other's thinking a little bit. Am I right? Or,
Yes, I know.
Yes,
like you will think like it's easier, but because we're siblings, but I know siblings that they can't work with each other, and they can't work with each other, but we try to work really well. Well, you will be surprised for the things that we fight. Just to give you an example, the other day we had like a huge argument about an exclamation point.
Yep.
And that's how I'm gonna say it.
we pretty much had an argument just because of one exclamation point.
So it's just little things like because we're siblings. Sometimes we want to kill each other.
Yeah.
And if you're working with somebody that's not your family member, then you tend to have certain level of
you have your boundaries.
Restraint.
Your boundaries. Yeah. Respect. No, we respect each other, but there's certain level of certain boundaries like you don't cross because we're not that close. But because we like kind of like
you'll let each other know, like, hey, oh my goodness, yeah. I guess I can see there's pros and cons to it,
Yeah. Well, mainly pros, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's good to. Because at the end of the day, it's a family business, right? Like, and we have our siblings doing other things for us, and the more we grow, the more we outgrow. So it's
at the end of the day, the way I like to think about it is that it's still a business, so we have to keep it professional at the end of the day. So even though we're close, we're like, okay, we have to come to an agreement at some point. So
that's actually a good point you bring up, because I think a lot of people out there who may be getting started may not really understand this aspect. And it's something I actually want to address at some point, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. What do you guys think it means to be professional in this industry of doing manga and comics?
Well, meeting deadlines, listening to each other's criticism, feedback, not getting frustrated with negative feedback, because there's ways that we can improve each other, and if we get offended by what the other person says, then we're not gonna get anywhere. So keeping it professional means, to me, pretty much not getting offended because of the closeness, because sometimes a person will say something to you in a way that you would only say to a family member.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think to keep it professional, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna imagine that I'm in a professional setting. I would not say this to my boss if I was in a professional setting. So let me just get it under control and get the work done, and that's what it means.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys have like, I'm thinking like, dang, like I can only imagine these arguments.
What I would say is like be open minded. Put your feelings aside, and it's all about the project, not how you feel about it. It's just what's best for the project, for the story. But just care about your craft. Like that's another thing about what being professional is. Like if you care about your craft, you will try to improve yourself, trying to find the best way to do that certain thing, do it better, not just conform. Oh, I did it and let's move on. No, try to find a way to improve in even if you think it's perfect. There's some things that there's always room for improvement, because people have different perspectives. Like somebody is gonna notice a flaw that probably you don't, and just be open to that, and don't take anything personally.
Exactly.
Just care about your craft and be open minded. That's how I could resume what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
When it comes to professionalism.
Okay, now has there been any difference in terms of the tools that you guys use in order to create, Iridescent from your process before, maybe 2 years ago versus now? Like, do you guys still, are you doing any of it traditionally? Are you using the same pens, or are you using anything? Is your process any different, basically?
Yeah. So basically, for me, that would be the biggest change, because I was doing everything traditionally. I was actually drawing with a regular pencil, regular eraser, regular paper.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's how I started. That's the only way I knew how to do it. And in fact, I would suggest that if you're starting to draw, that you just start traditionally, because you learn a lot from starting traditionally and then moving on, transitioning to a digital atmosphere. But now
I just want to stop you real quick. Yeah, I was going to say he loves that, like traditional.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as you said that, I was like, "Yep."
That's how I started, and it's how I appreciate it the most. So
exactly,
I can relate.
It takes a lot of, it takes real skill to do everything traditionally. You don't have Control Z like in a computer. So that's one of the main things that I appreciate of doing digitally. I know you would say maybe it's like cheating that you have Control Z, but
or the textures or the speed lines and all the stuff that you have them on the software, having to put them manually.
Because you have rulers that you can use, that you just put like a perspective ruler, and then you have perfect perspective. You don't have to use a ruler and be measuring it like traditionally. Like your computer just does it for you. But yeah, that was the biggest change I've done. Now I do everything digitally, but we have to be careful that it doesn't look too digital, because if it looks too digital, it kind of loses the essence of what a real manga is like.
Like the rustic kind of feel,
Right. So I like to use. There are different types of pens, pencils in the digital software, and I just try to make sure to use one that looks closest to what it would look like traditionally, as well as just the trace. Like my technique has to be in a specific way so that it looks as close to traditionally as possible, to make sure that the lines are different values and things like that.
So with your, I guess I would say writing wise, has there been any like significant change, like in terms of your process at all, Saymond? Or
well, the thing with my process is a bit unconventional in some aspects, but no main changes between 2 years ago. Not really. I'm still writing in the software. I feel like I just got a bit better at writing. But when I say my process is a bit unconventional, it's because we have access, at least for this first volume, to some of the voice actors. and I got the opportunity to direct them and saying the lines, and then I can go back and say, you know what, I don't like this line. Let's change this line. And if I change a line with the voice actor, I have to change that in the script and for the manga. So so I've been doing some experimenting with some of the takes of the voice actors, and that has affected some of the art in the manga. Just to give an example, for example, with Chowder, in one of the scenes when we were recording, he was legitimately confused, the actor, about what we were trying for him to accomplish. So he's like, "So you want me to do this or not?" And what? Like he'd make this.
I just want to give the audience a context real quick. This is for the motion comic, correct?
Yes, correct. So he delivered this line in a specific way, but he was legitimately confused. I'm like, that sounds real because it is real. So what I did, I incorporated that confusion moment and added to the manga itself. So now Show, instead of asking a question, he will say exactly the lines that the voice actor mumbled when he was confused. So it's like a backwards process in that way. Like, okay, he delivered this line this way, let's add that to a manga. And so it's like a really interesting thing. And I'm planning to do that in the future with some of the volumes. Like, if I get access again to voice actors, I'll be okay. I'm gonna experiment with them, and whatever I come up with, that's gonna end up making it into a page. It's interesting.
So basically, almost letting it play out.
Yeah. It's really experimental, I think, but I enjoy the process. It gives me interesting results that improve the comic, improve the manga and the motion part in different ways.
No, that makes sense when you put it that way, because you want something that sounds more natural.
Mm-hmm.
That someone's saying it doesn't sound like, like, I guess you don't want, even though it is in a comic, you don't want it to sound like it's from a comic. You want somebody to read it and feel like they can relate to it just based on that.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
His idea was like to tell the voice actors, like, hey, whenever you're in that sound booth, make sure you are that character. You're never gonna be, for example, his name is Leraldo. Like, you're not Leraldo anymore. You're Shutter. So
I'm gonna call you Shutter. We're gonna method. The whole time you're in the booth, you're gonna be the character. So
if you make a mistake, you need to say some curse words. Just say it in Shutter's voice.
If you're gonna ask me a question, ask me as Shutter. Don't ask me as Leraldo. Yeah. Ask me in Shutter's voice.
That's an interesting way to put it, but yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. You have to get completely in character. Mm-hmm. Or at least I think actors should get in as much as possible in character. Right. Now, what you don't want to happen is you get so much in character. I've heard of actors not being able to get out of the character.
No. I know. They go way too method.
He's just going to tell you he's Shutter for the rest of his life.
No, just while they're inside the booth. I think that's a safe way to put it. Once you go out, you can be yourself again. But while you go inside, you're the character. And I think that's a process that will give us interesting and better results, in my opinion.
He's gonna tell you, Shotter told me that he's me now. That's it. We're one now. No, I'm kidding. I've been watching too much. I just got done watching Perfect Blue the other day, so I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if have you seen that movie before? Oh, okay. It's a movie by what's his name, Nico? What's the director?
Satoshi Kon.
Yeah, Satoshi Kon. You'll know what I mean. Anybody's watching will know what I'm talking about when I say that. But I recommend it.
Multiple personality kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially, exactly.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, but okay. So I mean, what I know you guys are obviously there's a lot more you guys have coming out. And I know you have a special project coming out. Of course, with you doing the volume. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Volume 1 of Iridescent. Well, okay, yes, thank you. Well, in order to release Volume 1 of Iridescent to the majority of people, we are launching a Kickstarter. This Kickstarter is going to be launching on November the 13th. I know Friday the 13th, but it's going to be there that day, and that's where this campaign is going to start. And as a matter of fact, we have a little teaser trailer we want to show you.
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and throw that teaser up. Actually, there's 2 videos, right? If I'm not mistaken. So we're going to throw both of those up so you guys can check those out. And definitely, I'm telling you, I'm also going to link the comic down below. But go ahead and check these out. We'll see you guys in just a moment. All right. So now that you guys have seen that trailer, I mean, honestly, I mean, just looking at how much work that you guys have put into this, like step by step, as far as, like the fact that you did the whole animation, like that's what surprised me because I was thinking, okay, maybe they drew everything, but they probably got somebody to kind of animate it. If you remember, Simon, I like kind of said something to you about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, looks like like I was like, who did you get to do this? And you're like, oh, we did this, and I'm like, huh? Like, I'm like, wow. So I mean,
he was just reminding me of that. Like, it's just the both of us. It's not a studio. We're not paying a freelancer. We're not getting on Fiverr and getting like, hey, animate this for us. No, it's just us.
And it's been challenging too.
Yeah, it's been challenging. Yeah.
It takes a long time to get it right, and I feel like we still need some in betweens and little technical stuff. But for the most part, I'm happy with the way the trailers are coming out. We are still working on another one. Hopefully, we'll get to finish that sooner than later. But for the most part, we're using this to promote the manga volumes. And once all the volumes are out, we will continue and do the motion part of it. But I want to focus right now our efforts into the manga so we can get the art done and get the volumes out because we have the story been cooking for a while and I think the story is ready to be released.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm pretty much caught up, as far as everything that's been put out. I'm loving what's happening so far. And it's more than just like just a fighting manga. Like you actually have characters that people can relate to. And that's the important thing.
And they get developed, and we get some character development, and they're gonna grow, and you'll see the differences.
And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, for anyone who's starting to write a story, that's one of the most important things when writing a story. You need to develop your characters because that's what makes your story, your characters. So it's very, very important to develop your characters to make them relatable, to make them go through different things. We can see them grow and everything.
Exactly. I'm like, and I mean, I know I keep saying it, but I'm like, and have your main character get with their love interest. Like, don't like that's what I love about like what Sword Online like didn't like beat around the bush with that.
Right.
Like I'm like, okay, dude is actually dating Asuna. Like, come on now, like. Right. There we go. Now we get to develop that a little bit. We get to see where that goes while they're doing combat and everything. I'm like, that makes sense.
And what they mean to each other, it's interesting. A lot of people gravitate towards that. You get a little bit of best of both worlds because you tend to see relationship in shoujo mangas, but I don't think Sword Online is a shoujo. It's more like a shonen-ish, and you get a little bit of this in that.
It feels like a harem a little bit now. Like, cause I'm thinking I'm like, dang, I'm just waiting for Kirito to just throw his arms up and them all be around him at this point, because it seems like that's how they're treating it at least. But, yeah, no, I mean, seriously, as far as, with your Kickstarter, are there going to be like any special, like rewards that anybody will get? Like,
absolutely. We don't have the full list yet. We're still developing the Kickstarter. We'll announce everything on our social media. I know for a fact that we will get some really good stuff. Let's just put it that way. But unique stuff that there's not gonna be anywhere else. Like art that's not on social media is gonna be part of the rewards, and it's gonna be displayed or produced in a special way. It's not gonna be just a mini poster. You're gonna get some of that too, but there's gonna be interesting rewards. But when we're ready to announce them, we'll announce them.
Yeah, definitely, and we're gonna make sure that we share that so you guys can check everything out once it comes out. I'm definitely looking forward to that, especially with Volume 1 being the first release. And I always say you always want to get the first release of something. You never want to miss the first release. That's the stuff eventually. Later on, you never know. Like when it's massively being produced, everywhere, you can always say you got the first copy, when it first came out. That's another reason why. Exactly. I mean, I know I know everything's early, but is it going to at least be signed? Are you guys going to do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I believe like everybody that supports us at least get a signature there, and they're pledging for the first edition of a manga volume, because if we make reprints, it's going to be another edition. So this is the opportunity to get the first edition of everything, and of course it's going to be signed. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but like he was saying, some of the special rewards are going to have like different designs for the covers. Like some of them are going to be printed on a different material. Maybe some of them are going to have like a iridescent or what do you call that type
Holographic.
of holographic paper, like for the cover page, so it looks more iridescent. So that's one of the perks too.
Special editions.
Special editions for the manga. We're also thinking about different posters that we want to have a specific design for a certain reward, for a certain tier, and other rewards like that. Like I said, we still have to come up with the rest.
No, and I have something in mind. I just don't want to announce it yet. Yeah, spoil it. But there's some other stuff there too.
It'll eventually be out there for everybody.
In regards to things that are gonna be inside the book, I'm gonna have a section for fan art because I've been receiving fan art through the years, and I wanna reward my people that support us. I'm gonna put some of the fan art in between pages. You know how mangas have extra content added to them? I'm gonna put some of that in there too, so people will be happy. And if you wanna send for more fan art, you probably make it to in this cut or even the next cut.
So there's gonna be like more story basically within the volume.
No. So some people have drawn fan art of our characters.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
so
I got you.
We want to throw that in there in the first.
Oh,
one.
nice. That's gonna be sweet. You know,
There's gonna be a section of pages with fan art just as a thank you.
Even between some chapters, like you have most manga, they have like something between each chapter, and maybe we can just throw a piece of fan art there, like, hey, this was drawn by someone.
Yeah, but so it's on Facebook, and you get credited there just because we want to appreciate that you guys are giving us some awesome fan art.
You know, speaking of that and being a fan of something, if you guys ever got the chance to do like a comic run, like from either Marvel or DC, what comic would you choose? You know?
If I get to choose,
yes.
Interesting question.
It can be any, like from Marvel, DC.
Any character, from Marvel or DC. I'll go with Nightwing probably, or
So
the Teen Titans, or the Titans. Nightwing and the Titans, something like that.
I would go for something more comedic. I just like drawing anything that has comedy in it. So maybe Deadpool or something like that.
Deadpool would be great.
It's funny. I see Deadpool right behind you, right
We're
there.
not
Yeah.
Deadpool guys there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. You know. Okay, so like, so I'm like, I guess if you know, Marvel or DC, if they're listening, you know, like, you know, hey, you know, but yeah, no, for real, like, okay, so then, is there a reason as to why you would pick, like, do you like Deadpool a lot as far as a character, or?
I just like mainly comedic things. So
just anything
anything comedy. Yeah, anything that has a good sense of humor, something I can have fun. Just drawing it and then reading it and having a laugh out of it, I would enjoy that.
So it'll be Deadpool or Harley Quinn, for example. If we're going to see something like that, that would be funny.
So would you guys ever want to collaborate with a particular creative over at Marvel or DC if you ever had the chance? I'm not even going to just say Marvel and DC. I'm going to say the industry at large.
Okay,
I'll put it that way.
Marvel or DC is cool, but I would like to collaborate with anyone that's involved with Attack on Titan. You know what I mean? Like something like that would be great.
So something more in the anime, manga
genre. Yeah, something like that. Or the guy that does One Punch Man, the artist. His art is amazing. I would like to collaborate with somebody like that. When it comes to writing, I would like to collaborate with the guy that writes.
With one? Oh yeah,
he's such a good writer. But yeah, in the anime manga industry, but in the DC comics industry, or American industry, I don't know, maybe, and that will be more on the movie side, but with Zack Snyder. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
he has such a visionary vision to do it.
I gotta give you the fist bump with that, because I'm like, I feel like a lot of times, you know, whenever someone mentions Zack Snyder, I feel like I'm like the only one that likes Zack Snyder. They're like, oh, what? Like, and I'm like, goodness. Now everybody's like fawning over Zack Snyder because of the Snyder Cut, but you know,
that was a huge deal. That was a huge movement, and I feel like AT&T came and changed the game for Hollywood, man. And it's really interesting what's happening in that side of town. It's really interesting things like that. I think they're planning, but they're not ready yet to announce. But there's hints at it. Like if you pay attention to the Twitter of AT&T, they've been promoting real hard everything DC related, everything that has to do with Snyder Cut and their characters. They've been really on it. So props to the AT&T Twitter manager.
So do you think it's kind of weird to say next phase, but like, with everything right now, with like Marvel movies kind of not being out right now, do you think DC is gonna like kind of overtake Marvel, in this next
feel
phase?
like they are really half in a way because Marvel has been like in radio silence for almost a year. Technically, they're taking a year break because they're waiting to release Black Widow, right? And that's the movie that's been holding the whole universe back.
Yeah.
And at this point, just putting a video on demand. I'm not even. I mean, I'm interested in seeing Black Widow, but I'm way more interested in what's coming next. So I wanna see what's coming next, and because of that movie, we haven't been able to get any of that. So in regards to that, DC at least they've been hyping everything up that they have. They've been making some interesting moves, and the whole multiverse thing that they're going for is really helping them to stand out from Marvel because they don't have to rely on that connectivity to move forward. They can move forward in different directions, and it all makes sense because it's part of that multiverse. So being a single universe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. With the what they had like the CW stuff and all of that. With DC, and I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Marvel, I mean, we all heard the terrible news, that happened at least, a couple days from this recording, about Chadwick Boseman, so I mean, I can already tell based on your shirt, how you feel, and but I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I don't have a shirt for Black Panther shirt, so.
But likewise.
But I did some fan art yesterday of him, just in honor of him. Did a Black Panther piece that he's gonna be coloring.
Yeah, and for us, like it's a way to cope with what's happening. Like for artists, that's how you express yourself, and we needed to. We were planning to do some Black Panther anyways, but it's the right time. Like we should do it just to deal with it. I'm really, really down. I've been down since yesterday. Since I heard, like, I'm really sad about it. Like, and the way, and if you think about it, he struggled for 4 years when he was recording those movies, and he did it because he had love for his craft, for the character, and what that represents for everybody. And I feel like it's a huge loss. Like everybody's feeling it, and not only people in Hollywood and the whole world, they're feeling that loss, man. And I'm personally, I'm really sad about what happened.
Oh yeah, no, I mean same here. I mean, I could believe it, but I couldn't believe it at the same time. The reason why I say I could kind of believe it a little bit is just because I don't know if you guys noticed, but he seemed like he was a lot more like frail, like skinnier or whatever, and I thought it was a little bit strange, but I was like, okay, maybe he's doing a new diet, I mean, everybody seems like they're going vegan nowadays, that's what I was thinking, but, that's no offense to anybody's diet, I want to say that, like, I'm mainly talking to you, Nico, but,
yeah.
But in any case.
But to me, after this happened, immediately, I thought, wow, the phrase Wakanda Forever has a whole new meaning to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, I guess he, essentially went on with the kings, and I'm like thinking of it. He even spoke at, I think, went to hospitals with kids that had cancer, and I'm thinking like, how surreal is that? You're helping somebody, talking to them, trying to help them through it, and the whole time what you have, but you're not necessarily, like telling it to anybody. And I feel like I don't know if maybe. Why do you guys think that might have been the case? Do you think maybe, he might have did that to, I don't know, maybe like to like save public face, or do you think it was more or less like just to kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense.
I think he was real about it. I think he did it because he wanted to bring hope to those people and just let them know that there's encourage to not lose their hope, pretty much. I think he was real about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not a public appearance just because. I think he wanted to do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm just so like it just puzzles my mind. Like, dang, you just didn't want to let anybody know, But I guess maybe
because honestly, it's a personal matter. Like when I cannot relate to that, but I imagine when you're facing such a personal thing, and it's
Yeah.
life or death. You want to keep that close to your family members. You want to freak anybody out and make a huge deal about it because you still want to feel like there's hope for you, right? And you want to scare everybody out or freak people out. It's a personal matter. So it was
You're right.
his choice and his family's choice to keep it secret. Keep his secret. But what Pedro was talking about is like what he represented for so many people, and for representation in general, like is important, and the joy that he brought to so many people, like it was real, and it's important, and I feel like that's why part of what I'm sad. Like he was such a good person, and he represents means so much for so many people.
Oh yeah, I definitely can say that. I'm like, funny enough, you know, like I think about, especially like within like the black community. I mean, I'm thinking like everybody I know went to see that movie, like something like that. And the thing is, it even extended outside of that. So I mean, that's kind of why I'm like, man, this was a hard one, Black Panther, I mean, even aside from that, he did so many other roles too,
Yeah.
So I mean, I think people should know about that, in case they've never checked out some of his other movies, that he's done other stuff too, But yeah, not to be somber, but
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and we all feel it.
yeah, aside from that, as far as and I know we talked about this a little bit last time, with the current state of the industry, with I don't know if you guys heard, One Piece is getting ready to end soon, as far as what they say, like it has 4 to 5 years left.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he's always been ready to end soon, and it's still One Piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, did you say it has 45 years left?
4 to 5,
45. I was like, 45
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
more likely.
Yeah.
They can do One Piece forever, but no, the industry in general is in a really interesting spot now. I think last time we touched upon the independent developers getting some notice by everybody, and now the industry is in a different place. We have webtoons becoming a really big thing, and Crunchyroll making original animes based on webtoon comics, and it's just the first of many to come. We have the God of High School and Tower of God, and there's some other in the way, and that opens opportunity for people like us to have hope to get an anime
Yeah,
in the near future.
I knew things were changing when Radiant was made into an anime, that manga
Yeah.
by the French artist. Yeah, so I knew things were changing when that happened.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, Radiant, I have a copy of that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, with Tony Valente.
Yeah, Tony.
I think that's how you say it, Valente.
Yeah.
He's so good though.
Yeah, he's very
Oh.
talented. He's very
Well, shoot, I'm looking at y'all work like, hey,
Yeah.
but no, like that's legit right there. I know, it's just a matter of time, and then you have with the God of High School, that's a Korean manhwa, that became, and then what else? Did the Gamer get one? I'm not sure if the Gamer got one. I know God of High School got one, and
Tower of God got another
Tower got
one,
one.
and I think Solo Leveling is in talks. But I don't think they have released anything official. I just heard like, oh yeah, Solo Leveling is in talks to get an anime adaptation, and that's a huge big one that everybody's reading right now in the manhwa community. So, hey, but there's more opportunities for people like us and all the other independent creators that I know. I think they all get motivated by seeing the industry changing in a more positive way when it comes to that. I think last time we mentioned anime was a lot more mainstream than before, and this year, because everybody has time to spend and watch stuff, we have seen a resurgence
Oh yeah.
in Avatar, Legend of Korra, and all these other.
yes.
I was just watching Legend of Korra earlier.
Yeah, so people are discovering all these shows that we know they're good, but a lot of people are just discovering them for the first time. So I feel like that's a positive thing, because the industry is moving in a more in a direction that will benefit people like us, like creators, and we enjoy seeing other people discover it and find enjoying it, same things we enjoy and find joy too. So
Yeah, no, I can agree with that 100%. With people rediscovering shows. It's almost like a new wave is coming in, or people are like, wow, what is this? Like, I'm like, yeah, it's the same show that you guys were talking about me for liking. So I know. I'm messing around, but yeah, no, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra. Which one do you guys prefer? Go.
I like the animation style in Legend of Korra. I'm a big fan of how much it improved. It was wow. It's like,
but story-wise, Avatar: Last Airbender is a more solid story.
like I think I could rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender more times than I could rewatch Legend of Korra. But animation-wise, I prefer Legend of Korra.
I think that Korra had better villains, but I think Avatar Last Airbender had a better supporting cast. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, definitely does.
Yeah.
No, they're both different in a way. They're similar in so many ways, but they're also super different. And I think I prefer the original Avatar, The Last Airbender, but Legend of Korra has really, really cool moments.
Oh,
And my favorite season is 3 in Legend of Korra. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. No, seriously. That's what I say. I'm like, Zahir, man. That dude was he was boss. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
And it's mind blowing what happens there. If you know what I mean.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I say. What do you rate the seasons? I guess if you had to put them
The
in
season?
order.
Oh
Yeah. Well, not like if you had to put them in an order, like from best to like weakest.
like just go one by one and rate one.
Okay, well, the best one 3, then 1, 2 and 4.
3, 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah,
Really? So you thought the fourth one was the weakest one?
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Because
Really? Why?
I don't know. Like, I feel like how they waited a certain amount of time between seasons, and that one was just thrown on video on demand, or you can only watch it online. You could not watch it on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Never aired. So they were setting that up to be like a comeback. Like the opening of the season works better if you have that time of period that you don't watch it, but because they released it almost immediately, it felt weird to me. And I'm not a big fan of how it wrapped up. I felt like they could have done way more if they would have go in the direction they went a lot sooner, a lot before, earlier. Sorry, yeah. I felt like a lot of what they pulled at the end felt like out of the blue, if that makes sense. But it's a good, solid season. I just feel like much prefer the villains of season 3 and 1, and I like what saved season 2 for me was the whole one flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Were really interesting to look, the very first Avatar. But yeah, that's why. But it's not
Avatar 1. I was they could have made a whole series for me.
Yeah, it was so good. And it's not like I hate season 4 or anything. No, I like everything. It's just if you ask me to rate them, I much prefer the other seasons.
Okay. Now, what about you, Pedro?
Well, I had never thought about it, so I never really rated them. But I did like the first 3 seasons better than the last one, and it's kind of for the same reason that he was pointing it out. Like I felt like what they came up with at the end could have been established way sooner,
way earlier. Yeah,
and we kind of came out of nowhere for me, and that's the only reason I would rate it as the weakest. But it was still a really good season because we see what it's like in the spirit world. We see Korra finally reaching her full potential, pretty much, and
the themes that they address, they're so real and so mature, and a lot of the subject matters and the villains and the action is way better. Is super good. Like especially in season 3 when they do what they do in season 3 is great. It's great television.
So I know with Legend of Korra, one of the big things is that I know they added seasons kind of as they went. So originally they planned on doing it. Can you ever see yourself doing that with Iridescent? Like if let's say there was just a massive demand, you already finished it, the manga, anime's out there, people enjoyed but they like, I want more, I gotta see more.
I have a backup plan. Okay, so yeah, I like to think ahead, and when it comes to Iridescent, I have an idea of what's gonna happen. where I'm gonna take this story. Let's just say after Shudder, but not really. Shudder is still gonna be part of the story. But my idea will involve Shudder in the future after the current. I don't even gonna say the current because it's not the current. But after my future plan for the ending I have planned happens, I have room to go and explore, and I want to explore some aspects. I've been talking to Pedro. "Hey, what if we do this? What if we go into this direction? We have to go small and big at the same time." And Pedro knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say when we go small and big. Um, so I have an idea of where I could take this story if there's a man for it, but if there's no demand, I have a good place to end it if necessary. And of course, if I could end the story, let's say in the next 6 years, and then let it be there for a while, and then revisit it in another 6 years later, and that will give me enough time to come up with a better plan when it comes to that. But if people want it, I'll give them as much story as I can come up with that of course doesn't ruin anything that I did previously, because I don't want to just beat on a dead horse, you know what I mean? Like if people want it, they can. I feel like there's more value when the story is solid and it's less episodes than just an ongoing thing like One Piece. And I love One Piece, but it's just too many episodes, right? For some people.
Oh no, yeah, I can. It's got to be honest with you, it's got too many chapters for me. But I know that's probably made somebody mad out there. But I'm like, I'm just saying for me. But in any case, so if I guess I'm curious, do you have any projects outside of Iridescent that you guys are working on as a pair?
No, and the reason for that is one of the situation we were in, like when we were doing Iridescent a few years back, something will come up. Like we have this little project that people want us to work with them, so we do that. So that will mean okay, stop working on Iridescent for like a month or two to work on that specific project. Then we move on, and the project will stay behind. And that happens too many times. We have too often, like too many opportunities to work on different things, and that will put Iridescent behind. So we're like, no, let's not take any other projects. Let's just do Iridescent until at least we get the first 3 volumes, and then we'll think about joining other people's projects. For that will.
I was talking about your own projects. Like, did you guys have another project? Yeah.
No, we're really focused on this one for now. We have ideas for other projects, but
I was gonna say because you do have other stories that you have written for different manga and different anime.
It could be video games or anything else.
Video games, yes, it's true. Some of them even relate to Iridescent. Like what do you call that? When something's related to the main story.
A spin-off story.
Yeah.
Well, I have like a flashbacks that I want to do, but they're really important for the future of the story. So I just need to know where to place them. But it's like a flashback trilogy. Like it could be like 3 volumes or just a backstory of the world and the previous characters before Shudder and Karen and all of them. So that could be considered like a side project. It's a spin-off, but it's really related to the story, to the lore. And I have ideas for other stories. I just need to sit down and develop them. You know what I mean? Like they're just ideas in my documents. They're filing my documents.
There was even one with some toys.
Yeah.
A story about toys that come to life.
Not
Toy Story.
Not Toy Story, but I need to find a different way to tell that story so it doesn't resemble too much Toy Story, because it's a lot darker than Toy Story, to be honest.
Evil Toy Story,
Evil Toy Story.
It's like a story like kind of like Chucky, but in a
No. It's more about like there's a disease in the world, and one of the toys has the cure inside of them. And so he needs to it's a journey to get out the place they're in to find the kid that he needs to give the cure to, because there's only one cure. It's like a journey thing, and we need to explore why the toy has that inside of him and why he needs to get to that place. The toy doesn't know why; he just knows he needs to accomplish this, and we need to explore why that's happening. That's kind of like the setup of the story.
Oh no! So the toy has to die to give the cure.
I don't know.
Oh,
that sounds interesting. I'm like, that sounds really good, actually.
But I haven't sit down and write the story. It's just like a pitch. Okay, I want to do this, and it's like a journey. It could be like a mini movie, a short story.
That's true. It could be just like a 1 chapter.
I was
No,
gonna
I
say.
don't think one chapter, one volume. Like
One volume.
there's chapters in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So we're getting close to the end here, but there's two questions that I want
Okay.
us to, end it on. So first one I want to know is, and I could have swore I might have asked you this before, but for some reason it's escaping me. Do you guys have any rivals?
Oh,
And that's not to be in a bad sense. I don't think rival's a bad thing. Everyone always acts like it is, but it's not. I don't think. Just creative.
I'm gonna answer first. So
Okay, you answer
basically,
first.
Me as an artist, I do have people that I compare myself to for inspiration. Now, I wouldn't say they're my rivals because I'm not like, oh, I'm better than them, or oh, he's doing a Naruto piece, I'm gonna make a Naruto piece that's better than theirs. No, I'm not like that. Like I look at their art and I'm like, oh God, that's really good. I want to do something like that. Like I take it to inspiration. So no one specific. I see different artists. I see how fast they are, especially because I think I'm a pretty slow artist. I try to be a lot faster, but I see like these other artists just putting out a lot of different pieces, and I'm like, how do they work so fast? And that's one thing that I'm like, man, like that's my rival in that sense, like the speed in which they do their art
And all the different diversity, like in projects that they have, and even animation. So in other words, Mikhail, we're coming for you. Metallica.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but
No. I really love and respect Mikhail and his work, and I'm really always even sending him cool messages. Hey, good job, bro. I love everything you do, and I support him. I can't wait for his. I think we mentioned that in our last interview with you. Can't wait for his Metallica reboot thing that he's cooking up. I've seen some of the teasers.
the art looks way
I follow him on social media. Dude, it looks like a way better story, like a way bigger story. So I'm really. I can't wait to see what he has in
he's also
store
working
for
on
us.
a video game and all that, so
Yeah.
the cereal.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
looks cool. That looks cool too. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So, what is your guys' end game? Like as far as your perfect guy, like down the line, when you're, resting, and you're sitting back and you're looking like, oh, this is what I did creatively. You're like you're both old men. What do you feel as though you want that end game to look like?
Endgame, for me, it will have Iridescent as one of the best animes of all time. Like not only manga series, like anime series with movies, video games, all that stuff. That's cool. But I want the show to be just as prestigious as Avatar is. You know what I mean? Like people love and respect that show for what it is, and I would love for people to love that thing. I'm putting all my love and effort into, because I'm aiming to do a great story, and I hope people will appreciate it and like it.
and for it to survive longer than we live in this world, like for it to outlive our lives. So something that will
We're gonna live to the world. We're gonna give this to the world, and people enjoy and
Our
learn from
legacy.
it. That will be our legacy, right? And this story is about legacy too. So
That's true.
so it's so fitting. So yeah, something like that. That for me will be like, okay, I accomplished this, and I'm happy. I can die happy now.
No, honestly, just hearing that, like, you can already, like, honestly, I just want to say this to the audience, like, you can never beat the passion when you have creators that are passionate about their work, and you can see it in their work, and honestly, like, when this Kickstarter goes live, I definitely recommend, everyone out there not only checking it out, but supporting the Kickstarter, and honestly, you won't regret it. Like, if you want to see the work that they're putting out, there's going to be a link down below for you to be able to check out the comic, so you can see it on it's on Webtoons, it's on Tapastic, so you can see it on those and read through the whole thing or whatnot. It's really good, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, and we are definitely gonna deliver a high quality product. We're not gonna just be mediocre about it.
We're not winging it.
We're not gonna wing it.
We're time and effort into it.
This is not something that we just want to put out because we have to put it out. This is our legacy, like I was saying earlier. So this is gonna be our baby.
Very much.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, like I said, even seeing, if you want an example, when you guys saw that think about this. When you saw that motion, the motion comic, or you saw the trailer, that we just put up, earlier on in the video, right? This was just them two doing it, like both Saymond and Pedro doing that. That shows you how much they put into whatever they're doing. So whatever they're gonna do, whatever they do, they're gonna deliver. So I just want to make sure I drive that point home that when you guys see that go up in November 13th, make sure you guys, support that. I definitely recommend it. With that being said, we're getting ready to close out here. But was there anything you guys wanted to say to the audience before we go?
Well, pretty much thank you for having us here, and to the audience, if you wanna pursue a similar journey to us, just do it. Be humble, learn to take criticism, but just do it. Just go out there, do it, have fun, because that's really important too. If you're not having fun, why do something, right? But be disciplined. Sometimes you're gonna, wanna stop, but don't. Just keep going at it. Just chase your dreams, and if you wanna support ours, of course, the Cloud9 already says he's gonna put all the links down there, and please support our Kickstarter. That will mean the world to us. But stay positive. I'm very want to say something else.
No, you're pretty much said it all.
Okay.
Okay. Well, with that being said, guys, before we go, just make sure that you check out next week's interview as well, because that's going to be the final interview of the season, and then you'll see us with the Shining Spotlight interview sometime in January. We'll make an announcement on that, and also. We have, of course, some of our comic projects that are going to be coming out really soon. So you'll want to make sure you stay tuned for that. That should be coming out within the next few weeks, I would say, or so, where you'll see our next project. And then last, if you haven't subscribed to Shining Otaku, what are you doing with your life? So no, I'm kidding with you. But definitely you want to make sure that you subscribe to Shining Otaku to check out any manga videos we do, to like tutorials on like writing and, have interviews, the whole 9 yards. You'll definitely want to check us out. And then also make sure you like this video if you like it, and share it around so that, of course, you can not only support Shining Otaku, but you can support Saymond and Pedro in their Kickstarter. Anyway, guys, we'll see you later, and thank you for watching.
Catch you all later.